Pearl. Talking about Pearl. Modern Utility Snare drums. Sounds so good and so fun to play. I said Pearl. Talking about Pearl. Modern Utility Snare drums. Modern Utility Snare drums. Modern Utility, Modern Utility, Modern Utility Snare drums. Snare drums, Pearl snare drums.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Nick DiVirgilio, and today's video is on these Pearl Modern Utility Snare drums. If you are a working drummer, you're gigging a lot, you're out there on the road, you're in and out of clubs, then these snare drums could really be for you. Pearl set out to make drums for the working drummer. People that need, extra sounds. They don't break the bank. They're really well made. They sound great. They have a cool look as well. So let's get into the details of these snare drums right now. In the Pearl Modern Utility line of snare drums, there's 7 drums, and I have them all set up here. This is quite a cool drum setup, I must admit. There are 5 wood drums and 2 steel drums. And here are the sizes. Right in front of me, I have the 6.5 by 14. Over here is a 5.5 by 14. There's also a 5.5 and a 6.5 by 14 in the steel drum line right here. There is a 12 by 7, a 13 by 5, and right over here on my right is a big and beefy 14 by 8. Now, all really cool sizes. You can get a really wide variety of sounds here. Before I get into the playing examples of all the drums, I'm going to play every one of them for you. I want to let you know what I did about the drum heads. Outfitted out of the box, you get a Pearl UT single ply head, and that's on the 6.5 by 14 right in front of me. This is the stock head that comes on the drum when you open the box. But if you're a working drummer like me, you have your favorite go-to snare heads, and different heads, affect drums in different ways. So I put on a variety of drum heads on the other drums to, show you what these drums can do and the different sounds that they can have. So I have some Aquarian, I have some Evans, and some Remo. Like this 5.5 by 14 right here, the steel drum, I'm a really big fan of Evans HD dry and their Genera dry heads, and I put that on the steel drum. I think it's a great combination for a steel or aluminum drum. I got a Aquarian texture coated with a power dot on the 5.5 by 14 here, an Evans UV1 coated head. I have a couple Remo Ambassadors, and I have on the 14 by 8 over here, I have an Aquarian Super 2, a 2-ply head. And the reason I did that is it's really popular these days for drummers to use a deep, thuddy sounding snare drum as their first floor tom. It's become quite the rage these days, so that's why I have it over here. It's tuned down really low. So with all that being said, let's get into the sound of all of the drums right now. So much fun and a great variety of tones. The size does make a difference, of course. A 12-inch drum is going to be higher pitched, tighter sounding than the big 6.5 or the 8 by 14. But all in all, you get a great variety of sound. Now let's stick with the wood drums. These are typical sizes in the 5.5 and 6.5 by 14. Very popular sizes, right? Here we go. Two different size drums, different heads, and a little bit of a different pitch in each one. Let's do the same thing here with the steel drums. This is the 5.5 and this is the 6.5. Now, since the 6.5 size drum does not have the dry head on it, you're going to get a lot more resonance and ring out of the drum, which is great for certain things if you want that. And you get a really nice dry, thuddy sound, deep in pitch. I don't have it tuned very high out of the 5.5. So killer sounds for studio and definitely stage. Now, I love a small side snare. I use, when I play in my band Big Big Train or Spock's Beard, any of these kinds of gigs where I'm playing progressive rock and some technical music, I love having a smaller snare on my left-hand side. For instance, you can play the verse of the song on the small snare, the chorus of the song on the big snare, back and forth, vice versa. You can do a little drum and bass or fancier stuff with the small snare where you can hear all the ins and outs and the intricacies and the ghost notes. Go back to the big snare for just the cracking backbeat, sort of like this. Great to have that variety in tone at your drum kit. The 13x5 is similar, smaller size, smaller footprint like the 12, but again, it's a little bit fatter sounding because you have that little bit bigger of diameter. Great snare for ska, funk music, gospel music. That would be a perfect snare for that situation. And then the Big Mac Daddy over here, the 14x8. Now, you don't have to have this drum tuned all the way down thuddy and low like I have it now. You can have it tuned up like a regular snare, but in this configuration, the way I have it with the Super 2, Aquarian Super 2 head and the low tuning, it's really cool sounding. Here we go. Great sound for ballads, for just adding fills, different texture when you're doing your fills, all kinds of stuff. Put a bunch of reverb on the sound when you're in your recordings and it's just gonna jump out of the speakers. Very cool. Now, I wanna do this. I'm gonna turn all the snare wires off and let you hear the tone of these drums with none of the buzz in the background. Now, will you play like that with a bunch of snare drums on your kit normally? Probably not, but the point here is to show you the tone of these drums. It's a nice, high quality, really musical tone from all of the drums. And if you couple 2 or 3 of them together, you're gonna get a very cool sound. So now let's get into the hardware and the accoutrements to all of these snare drums. The shells on all of the wood drums are 6-ply, 5mm thick, and the 2 steel drums are 1mm beaded steel shells. Now, all of the lugs and the triple-flanged hoops are the same on all of the drums. You have 1.6mm triple-flanged hoops on all of the drums. These are really nice feeling hoops. You get a great side stick sound out of any of the drums. They're gonna last you a really long time. All of these drums come with very cool looking bridge lugs, and also something I want to mention that's a kind of a high-end feature here are the brass fittings that the tension rods go into. Your tension's gonna stay inside a long time, and that brass fitting is just a high-end feature that's gonna protect these drums and the way the tension rod goes into the lugs for a really long time. It's a nice feature. The throw-off and strainer on all the drums is the SR700. It's a very no-frills, simple strainer, kind of a ratchet one you pull down towards you, on and off like that. Easily tighten or loosen the snare wire tension. Again, these are very simple drums made to, for the working drummer to not break the bank so you can have more sounds, more options at your kit and at your disposal. Before I close out the video, let me quickly talk about the finish on all the drums. Very cool looking drums that will fit on any kit. So no matter what color kit you have, you could put one of these Modern Utility snare drums and it'll fit the look of the kit as well. You either have natural or black satin finish drums. And the steel shell, they make it sort of a matte finish, so it looks sort of aluminum, like a little bit weathered. It's got a nice finish to it on the steel drums. So again, these drums will fit with any color drum kit you have. There you have it, everybody. Pearl's Modern Utility Snare Drums. A great line of drums that come in a variety of sizes. They don't break the bank. They're made for the working drummer that's out there just killing it every night. Lots of gigs, lots of touring. If you want some different sounds, you want to add to your arsenal, this is a great way to go. So if you want any more information about these Pearl drums or any other Pearl product, just contact your Sweetwater sales engineer. Thanks a lot for watching this video.
Sounds so good and so fun to play. I said Pearl.